Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Not going to be long. Just want to make a video regarding the matter of the name that we say we are and can lay claim to, giving honor and praise to the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth, the Most High. This is the word here, Israel. Now, for those who say Hebrew has no vowels, they will say this is Yashara'Allah or Yashu Ra'al or Yashara'al. You see it different ways said by those who say Hebrew has no vowels. And this is no disrespect intended, nonetheless, but ah is a vowel. It's a sound. What a vowel is in actuality is a written sound. So if you were to say this is Yashara'Allah, you're still saying vowels with it, just saying it as ah. Alright, so we just want to point that out. Now, next thing to point out with this, brothers and sisters, when we're seeing Israel, this is the Yod, the Kirik, the Sin, the Shawar, the Resh with the Kwamat, and the Lamed with the Zareh. Now, let's look at this very carefully. This Yod that you see right here, right, making a Y sound, alright, serves as a prefix. So if you were to just say this here, the Sin and the Resh, right? It comes from the root word Sarah. The word Sarah in Hebrew means to contend. Alright? So we want to point that out for reference purposes. So now this Yod serves as the third person, the third person masculine, singular, future tense. Why do we want to point out, brothers and sisters, the aspect of it saying in future tense is this? Because this word here, El, right? It comes from the root word ayil. The word ayil, brothers and sisters, means to have power or to be mighty or to have strength. So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. So what are we saying, brothers and sisters, in this particular case? Is this Yod, all right, serving as a prefix, showing the future tense of this root word here, meaning as stated to contend. And this one here, El, translated loosely by saying God, speaking of the Creator. Yisrael would mean, brothers and sisters, El, the Creator, will contend. That's what that means in that particular case. So many times brothers and sisters would say that Yisrael means Prince of the Power. In spirituality, perhaps. But if you want to talk about the aspect of literal meaning, or if you want to talk about the aspect of linguistics, as opposed to just spiritual aspect of why Jacob was given that name, this is what we want to point out in that particular case. Now, as stated, this is not going to be long. Just wanted to point this out for reason and purposes and so forth and so on. All right. We want to emphasize, as been pointed out in other videos, that Yisrael is not from Isis, Ra, and El. That's something that was purported by Masons and people of that kind of nature to try to throw people off from the truth of what it is. You understand? It is not from Isis, Ra, and El. Isis is not even an Egyptian god or goddess. That's a whole nother subject. We're not going to get too far into that particular aspect. And brothers and sisters, El, we want to talk about a little bit, if we will. All right? Let's look at that. Many times people say that El was a Canaanite deity and then say that the Israelites adopted it. Saying El, brothers and sisters, is no different than saying the quote-unquote loose term in English, God. You understand? So if somebody said God in 1604 and then somebody said God in 2004, one did not borrow it. We have to just know and understand, brothers and sisters, what the speaker or author is talking and conveying. All right? So as pointed out, this word here, El, comes from the root word, all right, Ayil, which means to be mighty or to have strength. In Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 32, you read La'el Yadeka, meaning no, speaking about power in your hand. All right, now, brothers and sisters, in the scriptures, before Ham came into existence, Ham is the father of Canaan, right? You had a person named Mahalalel, all right? And you have the word El in that man's name. So that's something we want to point out in that particular regard. You have Mahalalel, Mahalalel, all right? That's in the book of Genesis, all right? That was even before, brothers and sisters, Ham even came into existence, much less Canaan. So El, identifying power, mighty, so forth and so on, was already known among the people even before the Hamite dispensation came into the earth. All right, so we just want to point that out for reason and purposes. With that, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, brothers and sisters. How's everybody doing? We hope, we pray that everybody is well and will be better. Brothers and sisters, welcome to Danitepublications. We here want to, on this day, Shabbat day, get into not a long presentation regarding, say, the Hebrew, but we care to, brothers and sisters, get into a particular matter regarding the translation of the words of the Torah into English for reference purposes. We ask you all to comment, to like, to share, to subscribe, brothers and sisters. In this particular case, we used to say last year, the year before, get into more Hebrew presentations. And it is nobody's particular fault that we have not been on the platform doing it as much. But brothers and sisters, nonetheless, we want to pick up, for the lack of a better term, or land back, for the lack of a better term, because we don't want to piggyback in Israel. You understand, regarding this kind of matter. To the people that I understand are in the room, my older brother in spirit, it's all good, and my brother and friend, Chief Shama, how's everybody doing? If you're still in the room, or if anybody is in the room, not sure who is or is not at the moment, if you can press 4, the number 4, if you are in good spirits and you hear the sound quality pretty well. I am open to constructive criticism as far as the audio goes in that particular case. That is something that in doing presentations, I attempt to stay on top of. Thank you for that, my brother and friend. It's all good in that particular case. All right. I remember one time in particular, somebody said, oh, well, I don't want to perhaps hurt the brother Yeshaya's feelings, so I'm not going to tell him that the audio or so is not good. No, let me know, because I need to present this, what I feel is in my heart before the Most High, to the people. So if not for any other reason, definitely want that to be expressed in that particular matter. Okay, so brothers and sisters, the word Shabbat itself, as we gone over earlier this week, with the matter of the root word Shabbat and the spelling of it being Shin, Bet Tau, and the Hebrew word, as we see in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 2, which is said as Shabta, also spelled Shin, Bet Tau. Brothers and sisters, we wanted to get into the matter of, though it's spelled the same way, the meaning in the translation is not the same, which would lead us to understand one strong key reason as to why Hebrew would have to have vowels. Because if everything was said in no offense as Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 2 would read, and you shall Sabbath before the Lord thy God, as opposed, or Sabbath to the Lord thy God, as opposed to saying you shall return to the Lord thy God. So these are things that we care to bring out for reference purposes. Conjugation, a matter of what happens when the letter Waw, which is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is part of the root and what is referred to as an ayin Waw verb, brothers and sisters. What happens when a Yod is the 2nd root letter, referred to as an ayin Yod verb? What could happen if the 2nd and the 3rd letter in a Hebrew verb root is the same letter? What is referred to as quote unquote irregular verbs, and how do they operate? Brothers and sisters, these are things that we care to bring out for reference purposes. I want to, on a human level, give due respect to the people who encouraged me to get books out, to get Hebrew books out, brothers and sisters. And this is not to play a gender game or anything of that sort. It appears that many males, brothers and sisters, do not know the feminine matter or the feminine principles of the Hebrew language. And in that is one of the reasons why a brother wrote the book that is online called Hebrew is Easy, Volume 2, to understand the function of the letter Hey and the letter Tau, brothers and sisters, which is the 5th letter and the 26th letter. There are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet, and you see them all in, brothers and sisters, Psalms 119. So, without any further ado, if we may, let us get into this particular matter. And I would like to, brothers and sisters, if we will, and hopefully everybody is well and will be better. I would like to, brothers and sisters, pull up, for reason and purposes, the Hebrew of Psalms 119. And we're going to read in verse 14, because a lot of times, and it's not saying it's either right or wrong, it's just with one spirit. You might see your brothers type in or say Shabbat Sas. Shabbat Sas. This is not to say that I don't say Shabbat Shalom, but I want to explain why a brother says Shabbat Sas. Let's look at this. Psalms 119, if it can be seen on the screen, I believe so, brothers and sisters. Yes. 119 Psalm, verse 14 says, I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much as in all riches. Now, let's look at the Hebrew. It says there in the Hebrew, Baderek in the blue, Baderek, Edotecha, Sasti, Kaal, Kal, Hon. What word do we want to focus on, however, is this word here, brothers and sisters. All right, so we're going to show that, if we will, pull this up, if we will. All right. And if we look at this here, brothers and sisters, right? I wanted to change the font on that and the matter there. Okay, if we look at this here, family, we see, remembering that Hebrew goes from right to left. And we see, seen, how, yo. First, let's explain what we're looking at when the yod is part of the verb in a suffix matter. This T, as we see here, the tau and the yod, with the under such, making save the storm E sound, for the lack of a better term, means that whatever verb is connected to, it is the first person past tense. How do you identify the past tense verb? Is by the suffix. How do you identify the future tense? In many cases, brothers and sisters, you would find it being in the present tense. But we'll explain that further as time goes on. You can also subscribe to the channel, More Yeshaya Hebrew Lessons, which is this is also presented on at the same token, to get more information regarding the language itself. Now, this word here means I have rejoiced, as we read earlier in Psalms 119. And this is said by a male or a female. In this case, when speaking in the first person, I will, I did, what have you, be it future tense or past tense. In Hebrew, the gender does not matter in that particular case. So this is something we get to bring out in that particular matter. So let's look at this word here, right? And we want to color this in the yellow. This, what you see there, seen in the scene, which is a variant of the word sheen, or the letter sheen. Brothers and sisters, sas means to rejoice or to be happy. So now when we go back, brothers and sisters, in Psalms 119, verse 14, and it says, I have rejoiced. Sasti, past tense. I have rejoiced, right? pulling the PowerPoint back up, we still see that scene and that scene in root meaning to rejoice. So, brothers and sisters, when the brother says Shabbat Sas, this is where one gets it from in that particular case. All right. If there's any questions, the number is across the screen at 908-587-4841. All right. So let us, brothers and sisters, get into this and expound upon it. Thank you for that, family. Danitepublications.com. Welcome to such. We are asking you to join us as we speak on the Hebrew names of the books of the Torah. We ask you to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We can be reached at 908-587-4841. The Danitepublications.com is the website, Danitepublications.com itself. Let's look at this, brothers and sisters, if we will. Beresheet. The word here, Beresheet, is two words put to one. A compound word, if you will. Means in or with. In Beresheet means beginning or chief. The same word translated as the beginning can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 21, and Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10. Of these two, we're going to only show, in this particular case, the one that is Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 21. And here, brothers and sisters, is what we see. All right? Hopefully, everybody is well and will be better. We welcome screenshots, brothers and sisters. All right? Deuteronomy chapter 33 in the Hebrew Machon, and here, brothers and sisters, is what we see in verse 21. Thank you for that. The English says, and he chose a first part for himself, for there a portion of a ruler was reserved. And there came the heads of the people. He executed the righteousness of Yah and his ordinances with Israel. Now, this is Moses speaking regarding the tribe of Gad. And it says this. Whyeekra, and he saw, and he chose, and he perceived. All right? Reshit lo, a first part for himself. What could this be referencing, brothers and sisters? When the tribe of Gad saw the land that they winded up inhabiting, brothers and sisters, he stayed on the east side of the Jordan. So when people talk about going to the land, it doesn't always have to be on the west side of the Jordan, because the land that the children of Israel inhabited, for those who know the geography of such, was on the east side and the west side of it. All right? So that's something we care to point out. All right? Now, you will find in Hebrew that the word itself, Reshit, all right, is translated at parts as a first, a chief, or the beginning, as we see, brothers and sisters, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. So I just wanted to get into that for reference purposes. All right? If we will, in this particular case, we want to point out that word Reshit has the word here, Rosh, meaning head or leader. The word Rishon, seen in Exodus chapter 12, verse 16, means first or former. All right, now Exodus chapter 12, verse 16 is in regards to what happened with the Lord concerning Passover. All right. So you see that word Rishon, or better yet, you look at the word Rosh, then you get Rishon, and then you get Reshit. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we can bring out for reference purposes. Any questions or comments? Please feel free to put within the chats. Thank you, family. Next, we have here the word Shmoht, understood in modern times as in regards with the book of Exodus. All right. It says the word here, Shmoht. Add this to the dictionary. The word here, Shmoht, means the names of / names of. The word for name in Hebrew is Shem, which also means fame or renown, because your fame or your renown is your name. Your name is your fame in Hebraic thought. What you're known for, what you're renowned for, what you're famous for, that's your name. So let's make sure, with that being the case, not trying to be funny, let's make sure our name is not mud. All right? So let's look. We have here Shemot, meaning names. And this is seen in Genesis chapter 2. Then we have the word here, Shemot, meaning names of. This is seen in Exodus chapter 1. Shem, said in quick English as Shem, or more so shame, means, as pointed out, fame or renown. That is the name of Noah's son. You read about Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Well, Shem is spelled as such with the Shem and a Mem in this particular case. All right. So just want to point that out in that regard. Next, we have family. This word is Whyeekra, said by, in many cases in English, not in translation, but in regards with the book of Leviticus. This is this is two words put to one. Wa means and Yikra means he will call. The root of the word Yikra, as we see here, brothers and sisters, is the word Quara. All right. All verbs in Hebrew have a root that is the third person masculine singular. What am I saying? The third person masculine singular is translated as he, whatever. He went, he saw, he stopped, he played, he ceased, he wrote, he ate, he drank. That is the third person, masculine singular. All Hebrew verbs have a third person masculine singular. Okay? So let's continue. The translation of the word Whyeekra is and he called. We care to point out the word Yikra is a future tense word with the prefix of the letter wow, as we see here, brothers and sisters, right? Bold, not bold, bold, not bold. We see that the normal future tense word, Yikra, he will call, is put in the past tense. In Hebrew, this is called the wow consecutive. Are there any questions? Please feel free to put it into the chat, or you can text me by WhatsApp or regular text at 908-587-4841. What am I saying for Hebrew edification, brothers and sisters? And there are plenty of Hebrew teachers. But for those who subscribe to the channel, those who support the books, those who support the channel, it is definitely appreciated. What am I saying, brothers and sisters, in saying a wow consecutive? Is this. The word Whyeekra literally means, in biblical Hebrew, he will call. Whyeekra means literally, and he will call. Yikra itself, brothers and sisters, we want to show that drop in the yellow there on top, and the wow serving as a suffix, the green. This one that you see in the backdrop with the yellow, brothers and sisters, is the verb. What you see in the green, brothers and sisters, is a prefix in this particular case. So what are we looking at in this particular matter? The while consecutive, the normal future tense word put in translation as the past tense. Now let's show what we're talking about. If we, brothers and sisters, were to go to one of the most famous chapters in Israelite usage, in Deuteronomy 28, we'll just read the first verse. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. Now, what are we reading here? The Hebrew says, Wahaya, and it shall come to pass. So let's take this word here, and then, brothers and sisters, like what our friend Sasti, if we will, right? We can, if it works well with that part for the moment here, we use the word here, right? In this particular matter. And we want to enlarge it in this particular matter, brothers and sisters. All right? If there's any questions again, please feel free to put it into the chat. All right? Now, let's look at this. We have here shown in the backdrop yellow, right? That's the wow. That serves, brothers and sisters, as a prefix. And then we have here the verb shown in this case in the green, the word haya, which in root literally means he was or it was. All right. So now, how do we get this normal past tense word, as we see in Deuteronomy 28 and many other cases? And it shall be, and it shall come to pass. Shall is the future tense. Is because, just like we explained with the future tense word in biblical Hebrew with the while consecutive, the future tense becomes past and the past becomes future. That's biblical Hebrew by the usage of the prefix of the while. And that's how that works in that particular case. So just want to show that for references. All right. So let's go here as we've just been over the while consecutive. All right. I also would like to point out, if we will, brothers and sisters, for those who are interested, if we take this here and put it over here, right? Thank you for that. This word here, quara, brothers and sisters, okay, we are going to have to do it this way. If we will, Leviticus, going to its part there. 1. We used to do classes like this in what we call real time. But nonetheless, brothers and sisters, I would like to get into this part here, if we will, right? Pull this up here. Thank you for that. And we have here the word Whyeekra, as we've gone over before. Right? Now, if we were to, brothers and sisters, show this in the blue, we have here, and if we were to enlarge that particular part, brothers and sisters, right? We have the kuf, the resh, and the aleph. The kuf, the resh, and the aleph brothers and sisters, spells Quara, meaning to call. All right. This is not Quara, meaning to occur or to happen. That ends with the letter Hey. This, as we see here, ends, and we're going to show it for reference purposes, right? For the moment, shown in the backdrop, purple. This is the letter Aleph that you see there shown in the backdrop, purple. So the Hey is different than the letter Tau. You would find as you go, not to get sidetracked, more and more into the studies that in Hebrew, the letter Hey is used for the same meaning of the word in Aramaic as the letter Aleph. But we'll get into that as time goes on. So now, brothers and sisters, if we go back here, right, with the purple, if we will, the Kuf, the Resh, and the Aleph, Quara, to call, right? Because it ends in the letter Aleph, as we pointed out, remember when Hebrew goes from right to left, it's referred to as a Lamed Aleph verb. We'll get into that particular quote irregular as time goes on. We want to point out, brothers and sisters, looking at the word on the top in green, where we see the letter Hey, brothers and sisters, bold, not bold, bold, not bold. Any verb that ends with the letter Hey is referred to as a Lamed Hey verb. And any verb that ends with the letter Aleph is referred to as a Lamed Aleph verb. So these are some of the things as we go picking up on our vocabulary, getting into grammar, knowing how the language works, what we're looking at. All right? Let's continue, family. So, brothers and sisters, the word Whyeekra means and he called. All right? Quara and root meaning to call. Let's look at this. Bameedbar. This word means in the wilderness. This word is a two words put to one, like a compound word. Ba means in or with. The word Meedbar, brothers and sisters, means wilderness. We care to point out that the prefix of the letter mem in many instances causes the verb to be a noun. In the matter of such, the word debar, means thing, like a thing. The word deber means plague or pestilence. We can see why such a word can be understood to mean wilderness. Because brothers and sisters, the children of Israel called it Midbar, meaning wilderness. Because who knows what they was going to walk into in that desert. You understand? So it would make sense with the word Deber, also spelled with the Dalet, the Bet, and the Resh. You understand? Also meaning plague, dealing with hunger, periodically freshening up, if we know what that means, dealing with thirst, dealing with strife, dealing with people trying to curse them, and things of that kind of nature. We can see perhaps why it will be called the wilderness. You understand, for the say, lack of a better term. Or the word Meedbar. The word dabar or the bear, meaning thing, the word deber, also spoke with the Dalet, the Bet, and the Resh, meaning pestilence. Meaning, when you put the mem in front of it, as we're going to show where that mem is here, right? We want to, brothers and sisters, backdrop that in the yellow, right? That mem shows it to be a noun. So the wilderness, the place of pestilence, the place of plague, we can see why it would be such, according to the eyes of the children of Israel. All right? So let's look and continue and close out. Thank you. Here we have the word Debareem. Oh, by the way, Bameedbar, meaning in the wilderness, today is referred to due to the amount of accounts in it, the book of Numbers. This word is the word Debareem, literally meaning words or things. The word dabar means word, like speak a word. That will be the word dabar. In the verb daber, brothers and sisters, all right, means en route to speak. The word dabar also means thing. We can say daber dabar, which literally means speak a word or speak a thing. So the word Debarim, understood today as the book of Deuteronomy. Mind you, the word Deuteronomy linguistically itself comes from the Greek word meaning to repeat. All right, just want to point that out. Now, when you get to the Hebrew, the word Debarim, brothers and sisters, means words or things. So when we're dealing with these, the words of the Torah, again, screenshots are welcome. You have Beresheet in the beginning. Shmoht, names of. Whyeekra, and he called. Bameedbar, Debareem, words or things. So these things, as we close this particular portion out, brothers and sisters, that we care to get into for reference purposes. We hope, we pray that everybody is well and will be better. Thank you for the time. Brothers and sisters, if I can be heard and people are in good spirits, please press the number 4. If I can be heard well and people are in good spirits, please press the number 4. We are going to create a blessed, create a willing, get into more and more presentations, brothers and sisters, regarding the language, regarding the history. One of the key things in regards with the history that a brother cares to point out, if we will, is the matter of the diaspora, brothers and sisters, scripturally and externally. What do I mean externally? Meaning citations outside of the Tanakh or outside of the said Old Testament itself. This is what you would call a Tanakh base, a said Old Testament base platform, brothers and sisters. Ever so often, a brother explains why we are Old Testament based on this platform. So we want to, and presenting this kind of matter to people, hopefully understanding is there. We attempt to never offend. We attempt to bring this knowledge out, and we hope and pray that it is acceptable before the Most High. As it says, so will we render for bullocks the offerings of our lips in the book of Hosea. So, brothers and sisters, we are going to conclude in this particular matter. And again, screenshots were welcome. The numbers across the screen at 908-587-4841. And with that, Shabbat Sas, Shabbat Shalom. And for those who are interested, stay tuned because we intend later on, brothers and sisters, not to get too personal, I'm away with family, brothers and sisters, in Tennessee. I'm not home in the Northeast. And due to the day and timing, I'm in my own space at my sister home, going over matters like this. And for the remaining of the time that I'll be with family, say tomorrow morning onward, I'll be more so with the family in communication with that particular matter right there. But as we speak now, I'm currently in another state outside of where I live in the Northeast. All right. So I had to be mindful of that when I put on the timing for the presentation, because it's an hour or so. It's not the same time zone. You understand then? All right. So let's get back and close out. Thank you for that. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
giving honor to the creator of heaven and earth. Want to go over this, not going to be long. Want to go over verb and noun. Let us look at this, brothers and sisters. We have the word here, hora or hore. Now, in this particular case, we're dealing with it as a verb. All right? Hore, in this case, in the Hefel stem, which in root means to teach. Okay. All right. So, then we have this word here, more. The word more means teacher. So what do we see so far? The verb and then the noun with the prefix of it with the mem there. This is a male teacher. Then we have this word here, and we can say it also as hore. Now in this case, we're not dealing with it as a verb, but as a noun. And this means parent, a male parent. Now we have this word here. Okay, and we have it as morah. The word morah meaning teacher, a female teacher. All right. Then we have here the word hora. Okay. Hora meaning female parent. So what do we see so far? Hore in root meaning to teach, the verb. More, a teacher, a male one that is. Hore, in this case treated as a noun, the male parent. Then we have morah, meaning female teacher or a teacher that's a female. Then we have hora, a parent that's a female. And we have here the word Torah, generally said as law, but the word Torah really means teaching or instruction. For instance, when you read in the book of Proverbs, and it says, forsake not the teaching of thy mother, all right? Al tishkat Torat imerka, forsake not the teaching of thy mother. So we just want to point that out. So we have a teacher, a male parent, a female teacher, a female parent. So what do we get out of this? The teachers are parents, and most definitely the parents are teachers. And what are they supposed to teach? The instructions. So just want to show how the Hebrew works in this particular case. All right, you can see that the O and the R sound is still there. The O and the R sound is still there. You may have a change with the mem or the tau or in root with the hey, but the general premise of the sound is still there. Unlike English, when teaching and instruction, those words do not sound alike. Whereas teacher and parent in English does not sound alike in root, all right, linguistically. So just want to point that out. Hebrew is easy. Get the book on Amazon. Shalom.